Welcome back to a very special episode of Between the Same Podcast. My name is Peter, and I'm joined by the one and only
Mhm.
Luke Combs.
What's up, guys? So today we're going to be talking about John Carpenter's ultimate classic, the original Halloween from 1978, and the overall impact that movie and its sequels and the entire franchise has had on the horror genre as a whole. So, Peter, whenever you're ready, go right ahead.
Yeah, before we get started, if you haven't already, you know the drill. Like the video or the audio, download the audio if you're on Spotify. Comment of what you want us to do next. We are fans of all films, of all genres, of all time periods. Um, Subscribe or follow, and hit that notification bell so you're up to date on all our future episodes. And without further ado, let's dive into it. So, Luke, give me your first impressions, your first thoughts of John Carpenter, his Halloween.
Yep, so the original Halloween. I can't remember exactly when the first time I saw this one was, but in its entirety, I think I want to say it would have been about 2010, 2011-ish, I think.
Okay.
I was well aware of it well before that. I had seen clips or scenes of some of the other installments, some of the other sequels to this movie in the years before then. But yes, I was well aware of it for a while. And when I did finally sit down and watch the entire thing, it really was exactly what I was expecting, and I've enjoyed it immensely ever since. It's definitely one of those staples that if you're a horror fan, it's definitely one you got to watch just to be aware of it and know just
Right.
just how much of an impact it's had. It's definitely a staple of the genre, and what I think I like most about it is just how simple and just game changing it was for the time it was made in. Because I'm sure
Yeah.
you're well aware too, just how many tropes, how many cliches, but also just how influential it was, specifically in the slasher subgenre of horror.
Yep.
And I think I think this is one that I could watch probably every single year in October. I try to anyway.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, it's definitely one of those ones that you can bundle up with a blanket and some popcorn or snack food or anything like that, and just get all nice and cozy with, and just put on TV anytime during the month. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love this movie. I do.
It it is a classic. It is a tradition for me at least to watch it every single year, either on Halloween or the weekend
Hmm.
before.
Yep.
Um, I I think that since it is so good, the rest of the movies are a little hard to watch and consider in consideration that this movie is a masterpiece because even though it is so simple and so easy to understand, and its budget was 325,000.
Yep.
So it was an indie film, really a super low budget film.
Yep.
Its story has become an icon for the the holiday Halloween. Like
Yep.
everyone knows the name Michael Myers,
Exactly.
and after this movie, I believe what uh 8, 9 movies have been made.
In total, I think it's actually with this recent release, Halloween Ends is actually at 13 in total.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah. So clearly I haven't watched all of them. Luke has seen the majority of them or maybe all of them at
every,
this point.
every single one at least once. Yes,
Yep.
definitely.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Cool. So Luke is pretty much going to be running the show today. Um I have watched the original H2O and the 2018 one. I am planning on seeing the new one that came out what 2 weeks ago, a
Yep.
week ago.
The 14th this month. Yep.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
I'm gonna see that sometime this weekend. Right now we're recording 2 days before, 3 days before Halloween. Um, and I definitely got to see it before Halloween, just because if I don't, I will not call myself a film student anymore. Um, but yeah, going from the beginning of the story, you have your classic. promiscuous high school students who are just normal teenagers, and you have a psychosexual active serial killer who has no emotion, no sense of remorse for his actions, named Michael Myers. And he started out as a killer at the age of 10 or something.
6 years old. Hmm.
6 years old.
Yep.
6 years old. That, yeah. So watch your kids. You never know.
Yes.
Um, um. So ever since then, he's been on the hunt to pretty much kill anyone in sight, especially Lori, our main protagonist in the original Halloween 2 and H2O. She in before the latest trilogy. Is she in
Right.
the other ones?
She was in, yes, the original number two, and then she is referenced in four, five, and six to a small
Uh huh.
capacity. But yes, and then H2O, yes, she is featured in
Yeah.
that in a significant role, and then she appears briefly in Halloween Resurrection, but
Okay.
only during the opening scene. And
Gotcha.
then, yep, this newest trilogy, starting with the one in 2018, that was her return to the franchise.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, um, Jamie Lee Curtis is famous, I think, because of this role.
Hmm.
She is the Halloween icon, besides Michael Myers himself.
Right.
And I just think overall for slasher movies, she is definitely one that will remain as a legend. Um, as for the rest of the casting, you have throwaways. You have people who just get slaughtered left and right throughout every movie. Um, my personal favorite character that uh was in these films was probably the security guard in H2O.
Oh, was he?
Dude, he's hilarious,
It's
man.
been. Oh. Are you talking about He was played by LL Cool J. Is that right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
who you're
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
of? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where he's talking with his wife or girlfriend about
Yeah.
about his romantic
A
novels he's
novel. Yeah,
writing.
because he was in the middle of writing it. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
I just think I think his character is so colorful and just fun.
Hmm.
Um but what's your impression on the rest of the franchise after the original? What do you see how did it come out for you?
So I would say it's weird because I saw them in such a weird order, and I didn't.
Sure.
And before, for a while, I had no idea of knowing exactly which ones took place in what order.
Uh-huh.
So, other than the ones that actually had like numerical indicators in their titles, so
Yeah.
obviously there's the original, and then Halloween 2, which would be the most immediate sequel. And then for a while, I honestly didn't know which one Halloween 3 was supposed to be until I actually looked, I think, at a cassette tape or a DVD or a disc copy of it. And it wasn't until much later after that that I found out that that movie had nothing to do with Michael Myers anyway. um, but yeah, so then that's why I was always confused about why number four and five were titled The Return and then The Revenge of Michael Myers. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, so what I found interesting about each of them was how, like with this franchise, it's been retconned so many times throughout the decades that the original has come out in,
Yeah.
um, or since the original came out. Because you've got one and two, which were well, the original was meant to be just all by itself, but
Uh-huh.
obviously it made enough money and did well enough with critics and audiences to where the studio or whoever it was made the call. Oops. Um, Sorry, my screen went a little dark there for a sec.
Uh-oh.
But yeah. Um, and then once the second one came around and they introduced the idea of Lori being Michael's sister, I was
Yeah.
aware of that going into it. So with that one, I could definitely see why it didn't live up to the impact or the hype as much as the original, but
Yeah.
it's still a competent sequel. I would say it's been a long time since I've seen it, but it's definitely it's I would say most people regard it as one of the better ones, and I can definitely see why.
Uh huh.
After that, I'll just stick with just the ones focusing on Michael. So,
Sure. Yeah.
um, number 4, 5, and 6 altogether, they ended up making what came to be known as the Curse of Thorn storyline.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard anything about that or not,
Nope.
but okay.
Nope.
So those ones, starting with the fourth movie, they introduce Laurie Strode's daughter and how her psychological connection to Michael was the result of this ancient Celtic cult that bestowed on Michael this supernatural curse called the Curse of Thorn, which compelled whoever is given it to murder their entire family or their clan, so to say,
Okay.
around the celebration or the festival of Samhain or Halloween, as most people know it,
Yep.
as some kind of ritual sacrifice to preserve something or something along those lines.
Uh
But
huh.
yeah, so just those three sequels, 4, 5, and 6, they make up that storyline. And it is interesting enough. I feel like a lot of people give those movies a lot more hate than they might deserve, especially the sixth one, which actually has some really interesting moments in it. But yeah, so after those ones were done with, the franchise was retconned again, and with H2O, it was a direct sequel to Halloween 2, so it does continue the Michael and Laurie sister brother arc,
Yep.
but just from that movie instead. So that one for me, it was definitely again one of the better ones, one of the more well-made ones, and it if they had left it at just that, that would have probably been a really solid definitive ending to their storyline. I would have been
Yep.
okay with it. And then, but once I saw Resurrection, a lot of yeah, like I was saying earlier, a lot of people consider that one to be one of, if not the worst in the
Yeah.
franchise, and I
Yeah.
completely understand why.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you watch just those four movies, um, that storyline is it's okay. But yeah, after that one was done with, that one's a few years later, we were introduced to Rob Zombie's remake, which I actually, here's the funny thing. There's, yeah, of course, his movie and then the sequel to it, Halloween
Uh
2.
huh. Yep.
I actually saw Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, before I saw the first one.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I
Or
saw
you
that.
mean the original or?
No, no, the remakes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rob Zombie's movies. I saw
Uh huh.
his sequel before I saw the first of his movies. Sorry,
Okay.
is that yeah?
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw those. Yeah, eventually I did see the first one later on after I saw the second. But yeah, those ones they're definitely Rob Zombie's movies first, and then Halloween movies second. If that makes
Uh
sense.
huh. Yeah.
I know a
No.
lot of.
Totally.
Okay, cool. So
Totally. Yeah.
they definitely
I
have.
haven't seen it, but from your description and knowing
Yeah.
Rob Zombie, I know what you mean.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you would. Yeah, it's definitely got like his signature like in every single thing you see in
Yep.
those movies. So, and those ones they definitely they're really like the first one that he did, the remake. It is really faithful to the original with um a lot more fleshed out background of Michael's childhood, which I really appreciated. It's definitely grounded in a lot more in a much more realistic way of how a serial killer or a mass murderer or somebody like that would actually come to be something like that based
Uh
on
huh.
a consistently abusive childhood and neglect and just a really horrible upbringing. So yeah, that one he did a really solid job with doing that. But other than that, I think yeah, like I said, it's definitely a Rob Zombie movie. It's got plenty of violence, plenty of profanity, all kinds of other things that he's known
Yep.
for.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I think they're worth checking out. I think still just to see someone else do something fun or different with them.
Sure.
And then with this new trilogy, since I did just finally finish it with Halloween Ends just recently, um, I would say the first of the new trilogy, Halloween from 2018, that one was also one of the better installments for, yeah, retconning the franchise all over again.
Uh huh.
I still think, yeah, that one was still one of the better ones. It had a lot of potential, but I think there's still a little bit that it could have lived up to or done a little bit better. But
Yep.
yeah, still a pretty decent entry. And then with these last two, Halloween Kills, it had some really cool moments, some really fun scenes where they flash back to the original,
Uh
but
huh.
overall it was really heavy-handed with the commentary that it was going for, and just some scenes were just, I don't know, they were just either they were just needless or really didn't serve a purpose or really do anything for the story itself. Laurie Strode, yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis returning to the franchise with this new trilogy. In this one, Halloween Kills, she really got sidelined and was left in the hospital after the events of the one before it.
Uh
And
huh.
then with this new one, I think again, it really I can't say it's any better or worse than Halloween Kills, but yeah, this new one, Halloween Ends, they were really trying to do something different, but they basically did with this one in this one with Michael that they did with Laurie in the one before. They pretty much kept him off screen until almost the very end. Actually, he's hardly in.
Hold there, real quick.
Okay.
If you haven't seen the movie, we're gonna spoil it.
Yes.
Deal with it.
Sorry, guys. That's what
All right,
this.
continue.
Okay.
Continue.
Cool. So yeah, with this one, with this newest one, they really tried to do something different, but for me, it just still didn't really like satisfy anything. It really didn't come to a
Okay.
satisfying conclusion. So yeah, this franchise has definitely been all over the place for me. It's got its ups and downs, but I can still confidently say that the original is still a really easy, solid, really enjoyable watch, and yeah, it's one I could watch over and over again and never get tired of.
Absolutely. Aaron and I brought up the point that the original source material, in this case, it would be the original 1978 Halloween.
Hmm.
Um, it it is always gonna be like there are rare instances where the second movie is better than the first.
Hmm.
So like, of course, in this sense, in this I guess topic, the original Halloween is always gonna be remaining on people's minds as the best, and all the other ones just fell off compared to it. Um, and I would you consider the original a cult classic, or would you just consider it a classic?
I would definitely say it's both. It's definitely earned its reputation as just a horror staple, like one of the
Uh huh.
absolute most iconic horror movies of all time. But it's also like I'm sure you're aware of this too, but like it's been included in the Library of Congress as being deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Really?
Yep.
I
Oh
did
yeah.
not know that. I
Oh
did
yeah.
not know that.
There's actually there's a surprising amount of horror movies that have actually earned that honor, and
Is Texas Chainsaw in there?
I'm fairly certain it is. Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
that's my favorite.
really?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm fairly like any really iconic horror movie, especially from that time period, all throughout the '70s. The Exorcist, I'm sure, is
yep. I bet.
in there and
I
well.
bet.
Yep. But yeah, so um, as far as being a cult classic, also, I think it's definitely earned that as well. I think because the horror genre is one of those ones where it's definitely not for everyone. So it definitely the
Yeah,
people who are really into it are really dedicated and they're really
right,
passionate about the ones that they really love. So
right.
yeah, it may not be everyone's cup of tea, but yeah, Halloween. It's well that and it's also with the original especially. It's so accessible. Like for the time that it came out in. It was really not violent or gory or profane or really nasty in any way. So
Uh
for a
huh.
lot of people, like I actually had my mom watch it for, yeah, a few years ago, around the time the one from 2018 came out,
Uh
and
huh.
she was actually surprised how tame it was because you really don't see almost anything really other than
Right.
maybe some blood and a partial amount of nudity here and there.
See, that's why I like H2O a lot
Uh huh.
because it they do entail like that like there's a lot of sex jokes and stuff, but
Uh
they
huh.
don't show anything. There's a lot of kissing and stuff, but they don't show any nudity, and uh I think having that choice was pretty smart because again, they are adults, but they are portraying like teenagers. Like even if they're like seniors in high school. I still feel like most of them would be under 18 and stuff. But
I think. Can I interrupt you real quick?
yeah, yeah,
If I remember right, didn't I don't remember how many teenage characters there were supposed to be, or how many were portrayed that way. Um,
uh-huh.
but I think the main setting of that movie was at I think it was a boarding school that Lori was the head mistress of. Was that right?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
if I remember right. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because I can't remember. I do remember something about some high school kids having a Halloween party while something was going on, or maybe I'm thinking of Resurrection. Actually, I think that might have been it. But
They they were having like a little Halloween get together, a party. I wouldn't say a party
okay.
because it was just the four of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, I like H2O because they took the modest route of sh- instead of show don't tell, they told instead of showed. You
Right.
know,
Right.
um, but yeah, it's a touchy subject. But
Hmm.
going on going on going on Carpenter's ideas and the way he uh I guess filmed and created this whole franchise, like not by himself, but he started this whole franchise really.
Yeah.
Um, his creative choices of showing Michael as a like a psychosexual like serial killer, like the reason why he became a serial killer because he saw his sister having sex, or
Uh, I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think Carpenter's idea was always to have him be like he really wanted to leave a lot of Michael's motivations and his psychological profile to be really ambiguous. Like he
okay,
really, yeah, he didn't want the audience to be able to tell like what was going through his mind, what his motives were, or anything like that. At least not in the original, because obviously in the sequels, starting with the second one, they did establish the brother sister connection between him and
yeah,
Laurie. But yeah, with just the first one, yeah, I don't think he had anything really specific in mind when creating the character. But
uh-huh,
um, yeah, because I think I think John just wanted him to be just like, I think he's said this on multiple occasions, but just the pure embodiment of evil itself and nothing else, basically. But
yeah.
have you heard about that too, or have you looked into that at all, or have you
Um,
heard other theories?
no, actually haven't really looked too deep into it. I was watching a couple of videos of there's this one channel, I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's the title of the video is like 65 things you missed from Halloween, John
Oh,
Carpenter's Halloween.
okay.
So I was playing through that and it was talking about um it had an idea of the reason why Michael was the way he was is because he's like a monkey see monkey do kind of
Uh,
character.
okay.
Um, so like the reason why he's attacking promiscuous teens
Hmm.
is because he saw his sister making out with her boyfriend on the couch, and did I can't remember, did her boyfriend like pretend to stab her or anything, or like attack her at all?
Not in the original. No.
No, okay.
Uh,
For some reason I have like a weird memory of that.
okay.
Which is weird because I watch it every year. But um yeah, they were trying to say something about him being like a monkey see, monkey do kind of character. I
Okay.
don't know if that rings a bell or anything, but maybe
Not for
they're
me.
just maybe they're probably just Looney Tunes. But
Yeah.
um 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 I do like how he chose to have during the movie watching scene, he chose to have the original The Thing.
Yep, that's right.
And then
Hmm.
he directed The Thing,
The
the reboot,
Yep,
or yeah.
his remake or his reimagining.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought that was a cool little touch.
Oh yeah.
It, it uh I don't know. I think this movie has so much like so much love from the horror fan base,
Oh yeah.
and for good reason.
Absolutely.
Um, is there anything that you would have changed from John
Um,
Carpenter's version?
okay, so one detail that has always kind of bugged me, because they even fully acknowledge it somewhat in the movie itself, but
Uh-huh.
I know it's not that significant because it really doesn't take away that much from the overall impact, but that one detail, the single fact that Michael, when he escapes later on,
After he's shot, or
no, at the very beginning, like after you see the
oh,
opening scene,
escapes the yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
and he escapes the mental institution.
Yeah.
He breaks into the car and then drives away with it after 15 years of absolute silence and never having even had any experience with anything like that. No formal education, no idea
Right.
of mechanics or
Right.
anything like that. He just somehow knows how to drive a car like perfectly and continues to do so all throughout the rest of the movie. Did that ever bother you? Do you think that ever?
Yeah, kind of, because you said that he killed his sister at 6 and
Yep.
then he was sent away. So
Hmm.
really, especially I'm assuming at that time period it was probably a manual car too.
Okay.
It probably wasn't automatic. I
Right.
don't think I don't think there were automatic
Oh,
shit.
yeah. Shifts. Yeah. In
Yeah. Yeah. So
1978. Yeah.
I this is embarrassing, but I suck at manual. So
Okay.
someone who has absolutely no experience driving, like, should
Hmm.
not be able to just pick it up without
Right.
any knowledge. So yeah, that is
Yeah.
something that kind of was like, okay, but
Yeah.
you kind of with these kind of movies, you kind of look past those little details because the movie isn't really supposed to be like you aren't supposed to think too much on it, and
Right.
it's supposed to just be about the horror and
Hmm.
all of that.
Just
But
if
yeah,
it. Yeah.
that is one detail where I'm like,
Yeah. If like
but
if there's any one reason like that, if there's any one thing that shouldn't have been able to happen in order for the rest of the movie to happen, that would have probably been it. But other
yeah,
than that, yeah, the movie's still great, obviously.
yeah. What were your favorite shots? I know you're probably gonna say the one where he peeks out from the shadow and like it's his face becomes very little like illuminated, but
Oh yeah, there's a couple of scenes like that actually, I think. But if you're talking about the one that I think you're thinking of, is the one like towards the end where he walks right up behind Lori from the closet.
yeah, yeah,
Is that what
yeah,
you're thinking of?
yeah,
That
yeah.
one that
That's
one is a really good shot.
yeah.
Um, Another one too is also like almost towards the very end after they've had their whole scuffle in the bedroom
Uh-huh.
or whatever room it was after the whole closet scene, and then he's lying on the ground, and then you see her and him in the same shot together, and after she's like still sitting on the ground, kind of starting to
He
cry to
like
herself,
peeks up.
he just slightly leans back up, just completely
Yeah.
silent, still no noise or anything like that. He just
Yeah. And
yep
it's almost inhuman of how he does it
yep
too. He's like not robotic but not human. It's
uh
like more like he's a monster. Like he's
right
out of like he's not from this planet.
exactly.
Um
I was gonna
one shot
say.
I oh
Or
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say if you were to ask me what my one single favorite scene from the movie too, I
Uh-huh.
think is just that entire dialogue scene between Dr. Loomis and the sheriff when they're back at Michael's home, yeah, his house, and they're up in the bedroom that Judith was killed in,
Yeah.
and Loomis goes on and he gives that whole monologue of his entire impression of Michael back when he first met him, all the way up until the present when the movie takes place.
Yeah.
I just love his entire like all of his dialogue in that one moment. I love it when he says, "I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil." I just love the way that was written. I love his delivery. I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha. Um my my favorite shot probably in the whole movie was not even during a horror scene. It was during the build up of the movie when Jamie Lee or Laurie is talking with I can't remember which friend it is, but the where they're smoking a cigarette in the car.
Oh, the joint, I think.
I think it's a joint. I heard someone say it's just a cigarette.
I'm pretty sure it was weed. I'm fairly certain it
Yeah,
was
I'm
because
the way she was like coughing
yep,
and
and trying to put it
yeah,
out, and her dad being there, like,
and being
cig-
a cop.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Cigarettes
yeah,
would have been one thing, but weed at the
yeah,
time, yeah, would have been a totally different thing.
yeah. Um, so that one shot where is from the cameras in the back seat
Yeah,
facing the driver. I can't remember which friend it is, but
her name's
the son.
uh,
Which one was it?
yeah, the dark haired one. It was
Yeah,
her name's Annie.
Annie. Yeah.
Yep.
When the sun is just hitting it, it looks so buttery smooth.
Oh,
Like I'll probably put a little video clip on the screen
yeah,
for people to know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
But
definitely.
I thought that was the most cinematic shot in the whole movie.
Okay.
Um, uh, as for like the 2018 and uh, even the ones before, they had a lot of cinematic like use. The transitions, the transitions in H2O, I've noticed some of them were pretty cool and fluent.
Uh huh.
Um, like some of those transition techniques are still used to this day.
Oh yeah.
And I think if there was one thing I would change about the original Halloween is probably have a different approach to the cinematography.
Okay.
Not that any of it was bad,
Mm-hmm.
but um, from H2O, I've noticed that the cinematography took like a step up for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that the cinematography was bad in the first movie.
Uh huh.
Not even close.
Oh
But
yeah.
I definitely think that I would, if I were to have a different vision of that movie, I would have more cinematic techniques displayed.
Right.
But yeah, um, talk to me about the newest one
Uh
because I
huh.
haven't seen it yet, and I don't care if it's spoiled for me because I heard it's not the greatest and not the greatest end.
Right.
Um, but talk to me about Halloween Ends.
Yep. So Halloween ends. Yep. Obviously, spoiler alert. But if you haven't seen it, for anybody watching, it definitely earns the title. The word ends in the title.
Yep.
So the way this one goes is it starts off by showing you this brand new character that we've never been introduced to before, not even in the ones that came before this one, like the last two.
Yeah.
Um, it starts off showing you a scene where it takes place 1 year after the events of the last two. The last two taking place in 2018. This one first starts off in 2019. So it
Yeah.
shows you this brand new character. His name's Corey, and it shows you him taking a job for Halloween night, babysitting this little boy for this married couple. And while they go out to a Halloween party, I think for work or something like that.
Hmm.
So this opening scene establishes him, and the boy that he's babysitting tries playing a prank on him where he hides somewhere in the house and tricks his babysitter Corey into looking for him upstairs up in the attic, and then the boy locks the door on him, trapping him in there. And then right around the time the boy's parents end up coming home for the night, the babysitter Corey, he's in the attic, still stuck in there, trying to kick his way out, getting really freaked out and really stressed and
Yeah.
just panicking. So as he's kicking the door, the boy is on the other side of it, and they're up at the top of the stairs and right next to a balcony. So right as soon as he kicks through the door and finally opens it, the boy, being on the other side of the balcony, ends up getting knocked over and falls down the balcony and
Uh
all the way
huh.
down to the floor and ends up dying.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, so from that point on, um, this guy Corey is seen as a town pariah. He's been seen as just completely guilt. Like a lot of people just have this completely negative view of him. They think he's a child murderer, thinking that he did it intentionally.
Uh huh.
Um, he is like, I mean, you see him being put inside a police car during the end of that opening scene, and then they jump ahead 4 years, or sorry, 3 years later to this year, 2022. So um, he was only found guilty of, I guess, I don't remember what the exact term for it is, but unintentional or accidental
Sure, yeah,
manslaughter, I
yeah,
think. But yeah, so he was let off. It was obviously completely an accident on his part, but like the boy's mother is still um, completely hostile to him. But
right.
later on, you see the father is a little bit more sympathetic. But with this one, they do focus quite a bit on Lori, but and then, or actually, they focus more on Corey and Lori's relationship and the way.
How are they related in a
Or
way?
oh, so actually, they're not really related,
Well, yeah, I know, but
but the connection, you
yeah,
mean?
connection, yeah.
Right. So Corey is about the same age as Lori's granddaughter, if you remember her
Uh huh.
from the one in 2018.
Yeah.
So yeah, she and Corey end up forming a relationship, like a romantic relationship, somewhat.
Okay.
But the direction they take his character in this one is kind of one where he is like he really wasn't a bad guy at all to start off with, but progressively throughout this movie, he ends up kind of in certain situations that keep pushing his character further and further until he kind of begins to snap and actually
Sure.
begins killing people himself.
Oh,
And
okay.
right, and then after that, he kind of, like I said, this one doesn't have Michael Myers in it a whole lot, almost until the very end. But eventually, he does come into play, and um,
Wait, the
yeah,
Halloween Ends doesn't have much of Michael Myers.
right, exactly. It has
That's
very little of him.
that's that's strange.
Yeah, it really is. It's like I said, they do with him in this one what they did with Laurie in Halloween Kills. He's pretty
Uh
much
huh.
almost completely sidelined almost the entire
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
So yeah, and they make it seem like they're really going to go somewhere with this Corey character, but yes, he does end up going on a killing spree, but then the way it ends is like he was like an afterthought, and then they finally do show you like an official final showdown between Michael and Laurie, and then she does come out on top. She survives again, and they finally dispose of Michael's body, and they end up shredding it in this trash compactor at the very end. So he is very definitively dead by the end of this one. But it was like, why did they even bother with the Corey character and his
Right.
storyline if that's like he really didn't have any overall impact on the outcome of this one anyway. So yeah,
Right. And
this
it feels out of place for a Halloween franchise movie.
yeah, exactly. Like they made it seem like he was going to have some real significance to Michael and Laurie's dynamic, but he really didn't. So yeah, this one
Yeah.
was again like I didn't have high standards going into this one, so I really wasn't expecting anything that great, and it really isn't. But like I said, it's really I can't really say it's any better or worse than the other one. It's just something
Then
different.
Halloween Kills.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So are they gonna use Corey as a way to continue the franchise, do you think? Or
No, this
no? Okay.
he ends up getting killed as well. Actually,
Okay.
yep.
Okay. Gotcha.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for spoiling. Not
I
kidding.
know. I had to do it.
um yeah, I mean I'm not super excited to go see it, but I feel like I have to just because um I've seen the Halloween, the 2018 one,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna before I see Halloween Ends, I'm gonna have to watch Halloween Kills,
Right.
um, just to really finish off the trilogy of that trilogy.
Hmm.
Um, um, so going back to Michael Myers' death, let's go all the way back to H2O.
Okay.
Um, so from what I hear, there were complications, like legal complications with the production company and the director of H2O that they were not supposed to kill Michael Myers.
Okay.
Um, is like apparently that's why Resurrection took such a wild turn and said that Michael Myers kind of just switched places with one of the EMT guys or
Yep.
whoever.
Or a paramedic or something. Yeah.
Paramedic, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, from what I heard is that legally they were not supposed to kill Michael Myers,
Huh.
and they wanted to keep the franchise going with
Yep.
him and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I think that after all these years, it's it's interesting that what you said 13 movies,
Yep.
including this last one.
Yep. Uh huh.
It took 13 movies to kill this guy.
Yeah.
And like I know you said with this whole curse thing that he was given in, what was it, the Rob Zombie movies that he was given the curse, or
The original official. Okay, so continuing from the second one, it was 4, 5, and 6 that were, yeah, that
where
where that
where
curse came
he
into
had,
play.
okay,
Yep.
was that supposed to make him invincible?
In a way, yeah, he was given. I
Yeah.
guess it gave him like some kind of a form of immortality, I guess, and
Okay.
then yeah, like superhuman strength, or something like that. But yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, that was their explanation of it. So.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah, because in reality, this guy should have died in the first movie,
Yep,
taking 6 shots
to the chest or
to
wherever.
the chest. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Um, but I mean, it's a classic horror movie. You can't kill off the antagonist. There's always got to be something where the antagonist just like wakes up from the dead, or
yep.
isn't killed.
All right.
Um, but yeah, 13 movies. Halloween. The original Halloween will always remain in my heart as a classic.
Yep,
I will never not watch that movie every year.
absolutely.
Um, do you think do you think it had a lot of inspiration for other slasher movies?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And
100%.
like, do you have you seen what was it? Sleepaway Camp?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, do you think that was pretty heavily influenced by this, or
You could say it was, I think, more indirectly than directly, because
uh-huh.
Halloween was definitely a huge influence on Friday the 13th. But I
Right.
think in turn, yeah, Friday the 13th would have been a more significant influence on Sleepaway Camp than Halloween was, just in my
Yeah.
opinion, personally.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I guess since it's Halloween, what are some of your favorites besides Halloween?
Besides Halloween, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I got
What are your favorite
I
movies?
I was gonna say, yeah, I love getting to talk about that because I know there are so many ones that people consider absolute um, like staples for the holiday to
Right.
watch. But for
Right.
me personally, I absolutely adore Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow with Johnny
Uh-huh.
Depp. That
Yes.
will
That
always be
is
one of my absolute favorites.
yes.
It just
I
has,
love I love the colors in that movie. It's
yes,
so
just
gloomy
the
and
atmosphere.
dark.
Yes,
Right.
it's
Right. You
so
really feel like cold and miserable.
exactly, but it's so perfect for the holiday and the season. So
Right.
that's an absolute go-to for me.
Yeah.
Um, on top of that, Trick or Treat, which I know, I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but
Is that is that the movie where the movie poster is just a pumpkin with
so it's in the movie itself. This figure isn't actually a human child, but he's played by a child actor. But
uh-huh.
like the character and the most iconic thing from it is this character named Sam. He's
Uh-huh.
this, yeah, he's a child-sized figure with a burlap sack over his head and then orange, dirty pajamas.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just
I I can't remember if I've ever seen that.
okay.
It does not hit a memory bell for me.
Okay. Um,
What's that about?
so this one, it's an anthology of four
Uh-huh.
different stories that are kind of interconnected, and they take place on the same Halloween night.
Uh-huh.
One of them is about a school principal who moonlights as a serial killer. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen this one either. But yeah, so there's that. And then the other stories are of a group of middle school kids who try and pull a prank on um, a girl their age with a mental disability, but it ends up backfiring on them really,
Good.
really badly.
Good.
Yeah, it's really satisfying in some scenes. So, and then another story is about a group of girls who are looking for dates, and one of them is trying to find the perfect one for her first time. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, when you find out where that goes, it's pretty funny and it's pretty surprising actually. I loved that scene when I first saw it. But and then the last one is about an old cranky Scrooge-esque character who hates Halloween and anything to do with it, and he ends up getting harassed by that character Sam that I mentioned,
Uh-huh.
just all night for being such a um, yeah, such a cranky old miserable old man and
Yeah.
not following the Halloween rules, so to say. So yeah, it's just chock full of Halloween imagery, just again the mood, the atmosphere, the colors. It's just everything that you can think of and associate with the holiday is just jam packed in there, and
Uh-huh.
I love everything about that movie.
Yeah.
Um, Another one of my favorites for to watch around this time of year is Idle Hands. I don't know if you know that one or not.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, so that one is about a high school, well, yeah, another high school kid, total stoner whose hand gets possessed, and when the hand itself goes on a killing spree, he ends up cutting it off, but it's still possessed and still doing its thing, and
Uh-huh.
him and his buddies have to try and stop it before it tries to sacrifice this girl that he ends up falling in love with by the end of Halloween night. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's another one. And then, other than that, there are still some that. Oh, and The Crow with Brandon Lee. Have you seen
Yep.
that one?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, The
That one,
Crow.
yes. I love watching that one around Halloween too, just because it also takes place around the season and just the imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like I like watching The Conjuring. It's not really a Halloween movie, but
Right.
I like watching The Conjuring. I like Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay.
Sleepy Hollow for sure. I
Hmm.
haven't really watched it every Halloween or anything, but um uh it's definitely a good one.
Yeah.
Child's Play for sure.
Okay.
And then Scream. Those
Yes.
those are those are usually my Halloween movies.
Yes. Scream all the way with Scream.
And then
Uh,
if I'm feeling like if it's like really late at night and a couple of my buddies are like pretty tipsy, we'll put on a scary movie.
oh
But
yeah. One of them, or
yeah,
yeah.
just one of them. We
Okay.
we we usually get tired of it by the end of the movie.
Yeah, I can totally understand. But yeah, a couple of those ones are actually kind of a blast. Like even with as stupid as
Yeah,
some of them are, yeah,
yeah,
they're
they're
still
really stupid.
they're fun to watch with friends for sure.
Yeah, yeah, especially when alcohol is involved.
Oh yeah.
Um, well, sweet man. I think that about does it for this episode.
Okay.
Thanks for being on.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
if again, if you haven't already, like the video or download the audio. If you're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening, follow and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're up to date on all our future episodes. Comment of what you want us to do next. Again, we love, I would say, most movies. Um, I can watch almost every single movie that's been made because I just love the art of cinema. Um, I do really want to encourage you guys to comment and let us know what you want us to do. Um, Also, if you're interested in on being on the show, I will definitely have you on. Just message me and we'll figure something out. And then last bit of news, we are probably changing the name between the scenes to something else. Still undecided. Um, Again, there's just too many between the scenes segments and talk shows, so it was a mistake on my part coming up with the title and not googling it before before finalizing it. But it'll take some time to get used to. But once our new title's going and running, we'll stick with it and we'll go from there. So again, thank you, Luke. It's always a pleasure to have you on. I feel like all you do is watch movies, and you make my job really easy.
Yes.
So yeah. I guess that is it for this episode, guys. Thanks for watching or listening. Signing off.
All right.